Well, I really want to watch this video now because it's fucking crazy, and we're just gonna chill tonight. So, whew, I gotta tell you, this is the craziest fucking theory ever, and we didn't get into it very deeply last time for anybody who watched. So we are going to watch a ton of this, maybe the whole thing. It's just so cool. It's and cool in the way that like this is OG stuff for me. When I first started YouTube back in the day, I got cursed by this guy. Very early on, Lord Stephen Christ. He cursed me. Yeah. This is an incredible video. This guy did not like me very much, but this is it's so fascinating, and honestly, the art
Here's
not too
my
shabby.
extemporaneous attempt to explain to you the inverted world.
Extemporaneous.
Inverted world.
Shit's wild.
This is the true nature of the universe. The inverted world.
I gotta say, his penmanship
Okay.
is
That means
satisfying
Earth
to me.
as you know it, as you've learned to understand Earth, even from a little toddler
This
in
guy is
grammar school.
Just
You've
wild.
been taught wrong.
Upside down flat Earth? No,
Earth
no, no, no,
is
no.
not.
No, you're gonna see. This is gonna
a
blow your
planet.
fucking mind.
Okay? Earth does not spin. There is no spin to the Earth. Regardless of what you've been told a lie. It's not true. There is no spin to Earth. Earth is
Cherry Cool, thanks for the prime.
inverted. What does that mean, inverted? Well, that means that the surface of the Earth on which you stand on curves upward. So if this is you, you are
You're not ready. If you haven't seen this, you're not ready. Look at this. You ready?
standing on the inside surface of the Earth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is called concave, okay? The concave side of Earth, which means
Oh, yeah.
Earth is not solid. Earth is hollow. However, it's not hollow in the way in which the more popular version of the hollow Earth theory is. Earth is a shell. It's just a shell. Okay? It's not solid, and it's just a shell.
Oh, yeah.
The shell, I'm not sure the thickness, but it's not very thick, I would imagine. Because firstly, man has not even drilled more than 10 miles beneath the
Shit.
surface of the Earth.
I actually don't know if that's true.
Do you know that? And yet they can
How
speculate.
deep
All their
have we
so-called
drilled?
knowledge
Let's see.
of the center of the Earth and the core is all based on speculation.
The Kola Super Deep Borehole.
That
Deepest man-made
Circle
hole
here.
on Earth. What's the deepest hole on Earth? No, not Dean's Blue Hole.
Not too nice, actually.
Not the natural hole.
That
It's still the super deepest one. 40,230 feet deep, 12.2 kilometers, so about 10 miles, yeah.
That means the Earth contains the entire universe. Which means that everything that we know, everything that we've been taught about the universe
Why do
is
we have-
actually false.
Why do we have such a deep hole?
There's a vast scale difference and a vast distance difference than what we've been taught, because we know that Earth is 8,000 miles wide, right? But I'm saying the water, the oceans are on the inside. The continents are on the inside of the Earth.
The continents are on the
Okay.
inside of the Earth.
So, what's up in the center? Well, in the center is the celestial sphere. There's a sphere up in the middle of the Earth. And I'm drawing these dots to signify stars. All the stars are
Yeah.
very tiny, okay?
That's pretty good.
Stars are created by a term called sonoluminescence. Sonoluminescence, which is basically nuclear fusion, but at a very small
I
scale.
love this theory as a setting for a D&D.
It can be created in a laboratory, in a jar, in a beaker.
Light from sound. What I don't understand...
A glass beaker in water. Okay? So basically...
is
in this beaker, when you are...
Why it has to be sonoluminescent?
Effects,
Why couldn't stars just simply work in here?
Spark of light inside the liquid inside a beaker.
Just so weird.
Sonoluminescence is the idea of bombarding the center of this liquid with sound, and it creates a little burst, a little bubble of light. Okay. Sometimes you'll see actually what the scientists will tell you. They call it. You'll see like a little surrounding arc that surrounds some of the stars. They call it bow shock.
Oh wow! Here, I'll move that.
And they'll tell you it's it's light years wide or whatever. No, it's very small. It's very tiny. This outside surface is actually the bubble of the stars inside the liquid. Now, inside the celestial sphere, this is hollow too. And there's a celestial ocean.
Huh.
Okay?
There's a second ocean so that the Bible is true.
And validates what we read in Genesis chapter 1.
It validates.
Where there are two levels of water. The waters above and the waters below. And there was a firmament.
Jake's the star inside my liquid. Aww.
Which was created. This is a hard surface. And I believe it's created out of glass. Okay. This is the initial firmament. Later, after the flood, there's a secondary firmament that was created. But inside this chamber here, it's hollow, and there's sound being reverberated from the center.
This is the crazy part.
Is in the center.
This gets even wilder because like so far everything on here has been stuff we know about, right? Stars and the space, and we have oceans and continents, and we've only dug 10 miles and bow shock. So we're dealing with reality.
Well, I'll just do by hand. A octahedron, okay, which is basically two pyramids turned on.
How does he know all this? I'm not kidding with the answer to this, okay? This is not a joke. I'm not making this up. Stephen Christ's justification for all of this in any video he's ever done. He's done thousands of videos. He has like hundreds of channels, and that's not an exaggeration. He's God. It's worse than that. He believes that he himself is a reincarnation of both Jesus and Satan at the same time. Yeah. Jayton, sure.
Turn on each other like that, okay? There's an octahedron in the center of heaven, which is in the center of the earth. The book of Job, chapter 38, very significant chapter. Verse 33 says that the ordinances of heaven take dominion of inside the earth. Heaven is inside the earth. Heaven is inside the earth.
Mm-hmm.
What's also inside the earth? Let's go back a little bit. Genesis chapter 1, okay? At the apex of this magnetically charged, magnetically powered octahedron.
It's magnetically powered.
If you got the positive side here and the negative side here, is the apex where it's generating
Black Sparrow,
the source
phone.
of the light. This is where the light is originating from.
Wait,
Notice also too, there are four corners
overlay
at the base of this octahedron. Okay, that is what is referred to in the Bible.
Good job
as
with the juice
four
of a joke.
corners of the earth.
You did it.
Of the earth. Okay, four corners of the earth. Notice also, too, here, there's a magnetic equilibrium. At the center. This is where the equator is. Okay, so basically you can take this 0 degrees latitude, and that's where your equator is. That's why also geostationary satellites can hover perfectly. Another thing, too, about Earth, there is no spin. Oh, I told you about that on the first page here, but no spin. So the spin is happening inside the Earth.
That's
Why is it happening?
wild stuff.
Because of magnetic propulsion and the way magnets work, okay? If you place a bar magnet inside a glass beaker, okay, and you put that on top of an exciter that excites the plasma, okay? You put this bar magnet inside this beaker, okay? It's had a positive and negative pole to it, right? But these field lines are returning upon each other. Draw this a little bit better here.
Magnets.
So these field lines are returning like that, okay? So what that does basically is that it creates a spin, a lateral spin like that. Spin.
Guar.
Magnets
That's the
create
43 months.
plasma spin
You canceled a booty call
inside
for this?
glass.
Hmm.
That's what's happening in the Earth, okay?
I don't believe
There's
it.
glass, firstly, in this celestial sphere, firmament, and there's glass here too, in the. I can get a bigger circle here.
Xena.
Glass that was
Eczema.
formed
Thanks for
after
one
the
to
flood.
Calavera Kid.
No, that's too big. Oh, this ashtray. That's a good one. Try that.
What a
Okay.
manic. Are his fingernails in there?
There is a glass
I think his
firmament
fingernails are in
at
there.
the top of
top
the
here.
atmosphere, which is roughly 62
Hold on,
miles
let's play What's
high.
in Steven's ashtray. What's in Steven's ashtray? I think we have a fingernail right here. I could be wrong, but I think that's a fingernail. We have cigarette butts. There's some sort of globule here. I don't know what the globule is. And then I don't know, some butter.
62 miles. Glass.
Why is it specifically 62 miles?
That was created after the flood.
Was
okay?
that from a
Let's
Bible
back
verse?
up a little bit, okay? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form.
Wait. Oh, okay. So the glass houses the liquids. And then we're here. And we live in between the glass and the what do rocket ships do? 62 miles up is the glass? So the moon is within 62 miles? Huh.
Which was meaning basically that
But wouldn't it be tiny?
Earth in that instance meant land. So the land was not seen.
No, but wasn't the moon?
Okay, it was without form. And darkness moved over the face of the deep. Well, yeah, so there was already a spin happening. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Okay, so. And then let there be light. Okay, then the light flicked on. Okay, so the light inside the sphere is being refracted because refracted means it's being bent. Okay, light is being bent, especially inside a curve. It's going to curve. Light is going to curve because of the refraction. So at the top of this apex of this pyramid, this light is bending over like that because initially it's shooting out straight.
Rock
vertically,
Ben, thanks for the 6
but
months.
it's bending around like that, okay?
Oh.
So the light and the Spirit of God is moving, okay? Magnetically charged. So we're spinning already. We're spinning in this lateral motion continually. This is happening every 24 hours, okay? And then day 2.
So constellations must be lag in, like, if you spin a sphere filled with water only in one direction, is the water never gonna catch up and equalize? Because if so, we would see only the same constellations like every night, right? Wouldn't it eventually like normalize in there? No, because magnetic. I'm assuming he would say the octahedron would fuck with the physics of water. True.
There was a firmament that was created. So this light actually expanded and created this firmament. There were elements that were already created. Light was not the initial element, okay? In the beginning is not saying before there were any elements whatsoever, okay? This was already here. This was before the beginning. This was built. This is called the foundations of the earth. Go back to Job chapter 38, verses 1 through 4. It describes a geometric structure when describing the foundations of the earth.
Rizzy, thanks for the 14.
And it's also a pyramidal structure because it talks about the cornerstone and it talks about being laid with measures. Okay? That's what's going on. Okay?
I need more weed, bro. I mean, simply.
Day 2, you got this firmament that was created, and
I'm not
it's separated.
having high-level ideas.
Expanded into 2 levels. So this earth expanded. Okay, the shell got thinner when it expanded. The earth shell got thinner.
Is the earth the diamond? No, Earth.
And so you have
has a diamond inside of it.
Waters above and waters below.
Earth is this outside part. We're on the inside. Okay. You fool.
Okay.
The diamond is the sky.
So we already have light inside the inner celestial sphere, inside heaven. Now there was going to be light that was being created in the outer shell.
Jake, considering you found this at the start of your career, I'm shocked you stayed an atheist. I know, right?
Okay. The sun and the moon. Okay?
It's not a diamond?
They're moving.
Well,
this
you
way,
called it an
okay?
octahedron, but whatever, man.
However, what you've learned about the sun is wrong. I've seen the sun from a vision that I had back in 2003. And I was up here in a raft. I was on the waters here, and I was looking at the back of the sun. And the back of the sun was actually dark. It was flat basically.
The back of the sun is dark.
I noticed that there were these light rays that were hitting. Here, I'll draw it bigger over here, basically. But if you're looking at the sun, it's a round, dark disc, and it had a white ring around it. The light, okay, and they had these light rays that were hitting the back of the sun, and they were all parallel like that, and they were going straight across the equator of the sun, or the diameter of the sun. I don't say equator because I don't think it's a sphere. It's either bowl-shaped or it's flat. I'm not really sure. But since I'm talking about the sun having a dark side, I'm also saying that it's not an omnidirectional light. I'm saying it's a direct light, like a flashlight. Sun is a direct.
It would have to be because
what you've learned.
I mean, he like literally needs this to be the case because when it orbits in this model, it orbits us. Sort of. It orbits our core, but we orbit it, but we're not orbiting because it's the only thing moving. Anyway, it would have to be that way. Otherwise, you'd see it on the other side of the ball of water.
Which means it casts a shadow. It casts a Terminator line.
I think he was an engineer. And then
where the light is divided from the darkness, okay? And because it's inside the curve here, and the light is being bent, it's being refracted like that, okay? It will eventually have this Terminator line.
There was a time when I
which divides the light from the darkness. Okay?
Tracked him to see if he was getting help because he lives in Arizona. Light. And he had gotten help for a little bit, and then he decided not to anymore.
Now, also, when the light...
But I don't know... He doesn't sound... Isn't it weird? Like, he he's saying wacky, crazy shit, but doesn't necessarily come across as crazy. You know what I mean? Ever? Like in any, like he'll say like I am Jesus and God, but he doesn't usually have like nutty things happening. However, he did have makes him dangerously crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. I think this guy's like super smart, but like in a I don't know. Write a sci-fi book, something. I don't know. Get it out of your head instead of like leaving its reality on.
Bends too much to hit the Earth. It actually moves around, and it turns around back in towards itself, and it hits the moon. Okay, that's also why we have
flamenco.
This is the real explanation of lunar
show
eclipses.
Up?
It's not the shadow of the Earth that's
no, he did not.
That's covering the moon. It's actually there's like a little area of light that's like a void where the sunlight cannot reach the moon, and when that moon enters in that little cone-shaped area of light, funnel-shaped area of light, the moon gets obfuscated, okay? So, you have the sun and the moon. They're moving around the inside of the Earth. The planets are there too. Earth is not a planet. Remember I told you that, right? Earth is not a planet. Planets are little spheres that orbit around the inside of the Earth. And I believe there are 7 of them because I don't think Pluto's a planet either. So that's 9 minus Earth.
Oh well, he
Pluto,
agrees
so
with
you
the
got 7 planets
he agrees with the modern definition of planet.
There's an ecliptic here, okay?
We do a Stephen Christ
Job
pop
chapter
quiz.
38, it calls the ecliptic.
I'm not gonna pay attention to
the
enough of
day
this.
spring.
Like to know exactly the right answer. Y'all can run one if you want.
Around like that, okay?
I'll be the host.
Okay. Now during the flood,
I'll be the Trebek. Okay, you guys can set it up though.
It says that the windows of heaven were opened. So the windows, this glass firmament, it broke apart, okay? And water gushed forth.
That's the flood, huh?
To the lower ocean, the lower level of water.
So that's the flood.
So it flooded. It went over the continents, over every continent, okay? And it also expanded the earth more, okay?
Okay, I have a question. Why is the water, would he say centrifugal force? Forces the water to the outside? Why does gravity pull this way? Because we don't understand gravity like that at all. Like none of the science says that gravity does this stuff. So I know he says it's some sort of magnetism or something, right? That pushes us, but I don't understand why then this model makes sense for like a flood like that. Like does that make sense?
As well as the water that came down, sand.
You find this boring? Look at this through the lens of someone who reads fantasy, dude. This is crazy interesting. Like, it's super fascinating because it's just like, it's so wrong, but it's like, if this was just a sci-fi place, you'd be like, okay, plausible. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually not a bad sci-fi idea at all. Because it's got a lot of justifications and it's science-y. You know what I mean? So from like a writing perspective, super fascinating. And then just watching him try to justify the reality of it, I think is also fascinating, I guess. But like, yeah.
Down. Silica. And it came down here, and that's how we get this glass bound. It fused together in the ionosphere, where there's a lot of electromagnetic activity. So there's a glass sky here, okay? It's 62 miles high. Attached to that glass sky is also a mantle of ice. Going back to Job 38, verse 22, verse 29, it's called the hoary frost of heaven. Hoary frost of heaven.
The gray frost.
Hoary frost of heaven. Now the word hoary frost in Hebrew actually connotates that word with the image of a bowl.
A bowl?
Or a basin.
A bowl. Hoary usually
So
means
basically
gray or like
hoary
pallid.
frost is attached
when we
to
say
a bowl or a basin-like structure, okay? Or a womb, out of whose womb came the ice. Job 38.
Critical mass and labels here.
Or it's also called the treasures of the hail. Treasures of the hail. Treasures as if, meaning that they're hidden.
Ionosphere,
We don't
checkmate.
understand that there's a layer of glass and a layer of ice connected to the glass up in the sky. And every so often, this glass, or not the glass, but the ice will fall down.
Do you think he still has these original drawings?
And they call those, they have a fancy word for it, they call them megacriometeors. Ice chunks. Ice chunks.
Mega cryo
Mega. Cryo.
Mega cryo meteor. Mega cryo meteor.
Big mystery.
Very large chunk of
Origins
ice, which, despite
of
sharing
where
many
these
textural, hydrochemical, and
mega
isotopic features
cryometeors
detected
are
in large hailstones, is formed under unusual atmospheric conditions, which clearly differ from those from the cumulative. They are sometimes called huge hailstones, but do not need to form under thunderstorm conditions. Jesus Martinez Frias, a planetary geologist and astrobiologist at Institute of Geosciences in Spanish National Research Council in Madrid, pioneered research into megacriometeors in January 2000 after ice chunks weighing up to 6.6 pounds rained on Spain out of a cloudless sky for 10 days. That would be horrifying. When did that happen? In 2000 that happened? That's nuts. Mass and size. More than 50 megacriometeors have been recorded since the year 2000. Oh, 50 of them. Oh, okay. They vary in mass between 0.5 kilograms, 1.1 pounds, to several tens of kilograms. One in Brazil weighed more than 110 pounds, which is 50 kilos. Chunks about 2 meters, 6'7", in size fell in Scotland in 1849. Wow. Process that creates megacriometeors is not completely understood, mainly with respect to the atmospheric dynamics necessary to produce them. They may have similar mechanism of forming to that leading up production of hailstones. Scientific studies show that their composition matches normal tropospheric rainwater for the area in which they fall. In addition, megacriometeors display textural variations of the ice in hydrochemical and isotopic heterogeneity. Nailed it on my first try, super high as well. Just tossing that out there. Which evidence a complex formation process in the atmosphere. It is known that they do not form from airplane toilet leakage because of the large chunks of ice that occasionally do fall from airliners are distinctly blue due to the disinfectant used, hence the common name of blue ice. Some have speculated that these ice chunks must have fallen from aircraft fuselages after plain water ice accumulating on those aircraft through normal atmospheric conditions has simply broken loose. However, similar events occurred prior to the invention of the aircraft. Studies indicate that fluctuations in tropopause associated with hydration of the lower stratosphere and stratospheric cooling can be related to their formation. A detailed micro-Raman spectroscopic study made it possible to place the formation of the megacriometeors within a particular range of temperatures, -10 to -20 Celsius, or 14 to -4 degrees Fahrenheit. They are sometimes confused with meteors because they can leave small impact craters. Damn. I felt like I read for 45 minutes. Anyway, that's a megacriometeor. I'm good at reading, chat. I'm a good reader. All right? Not the best. Just a good one. I've told my Earth Space Physics fiance he needs to watch this. I think he'll have a stroke. He's not going to like this.
Coming from, because some weigh as much as 15.
To be honest, a fantasy world that needs like 20 diagrams to explain how the world works is going to lose a lot of people. You would write it. You wouldn't. You ever read like Brandon Sanderson? Like, he makes up whole fucking crazy stuff that happens, but he just describes it from the perspective of the characters there as if it's normal, and you slowly over time, as a reader, get the picture. You don't need like a specific diagram. Although he do like his maps.
To the invention.
New circle just dropped. Let's go. It looks like a.
So
it looks like people who draw animes put platonic ideal of a titty from the side. That's the funniest thing I've ever said in my whole life, for the record. And it's so funny you can't even like get a real big laugh out of it because it's just correct, you know? It's just too real.
from airplanes. It's not airplane discharge from the lavatories, because that ice is actually dyed blue. And when that does fall to the ground, you notice the difference. And they're not as big either. This is why scientists can't tell you where the ice is coming from, because they do not accept this model of the universe, this accurate model of the universe. Everything is tiny, okay?
I'm texting Hannah, and she said the same thing we've all been saying. She said, Stephen Christ's ideas would be a great setting for a D&D campaign. And I'm like, damn, we said that too.
Everything is small. There's plenty of physical evidence for the fact that there is glass in the sky.
Glass. Not ice,
Okay.
but glass.
There's tektites. Scientists consider tektites a mystery. They don't know where tektites came
Bonza, mate.
Whether
Thanks for
it
the
came from
8 months.
from. Extraterrestrial origins or terrestrial origins.
You can tell after
they
5
can't make up
seconds
their
this dude's a
mind.
nut job.
It has no cosmic ray exposure. So basically it's
God bless.
not coming from above the
All right, what's a
atmosphere. Because
tektite?
the atmosphere, hey, guess what? It blocks out cosmic rays. Well, why does it block out
A
cosmic rays
tektite
in the first place?
meteorite.
Because glass blocks out cosmic rays.
All right. Here's a tektite. A tektite, from ancient Greek tektos, are gravel-sized bodies composed of black, green, brown, and other gray natural glass or gray natural glass formed from terrestrial debris ejected during meteorite impacts. The term was coined by Austrian geologist Franz Eduard Suess, son of Edward Suess. Wow. They generally range in size from millimeters to centimeters. Millimeter scale tektites are known as microtektites. We're gonna read this. I'm not gonna read this whole thing. Tektites are characterized by a fairly homogeneous composition, an extremely low content of water and other volatiles, an abundance of lecca-tellurite, a general lack of microscopic crystals known as microlites, and chemical relation to the local bedrock or local sediments, their distribution within geographically extensive strewn fields. So these are a known thing and have been so since minimum 1941. On his deathbed, he could have said this. Minimum. These are formed. These are gravel-sized pieces of glass formed when from terrestrial objects when meteorites impact. So the impact sends debris that is hot and melts together and becomes glass and then falls apart. So we do know what these are not mysteries.
That's why.
Love me a good strewn field.
It's they can't figure it out either where they can't, and it doesn't come from the ground either, basically, because there's many holes in that theory. There's no meteor craters.
You're
where
here for
these
this content?
Have fallen.
The
Tektites are
content where I talk like this, is that the content you want?
Let me explain tektites to you. They're molten. It's basically molten glass. Some are in the form of like dumbbells, like that. Some are in the form of buttons, like that. Well, what they're showing is they're showing aerodynamics.
He's
in the
discovered the
shapes,
true
like they were
glass
flying
ceiling
through
through
the air at a high velocity, and they were also
How does hijack get more hyperactive? Well, maybe this is a sativa. I don't know.
aerodynamic
What we
shape.
got here?
But it's a mystery.
I don't know.
To them,
It's pretty
to
low
me, it's not a
THC.
mystery. It's very simple.
Well, for me, it's like 18%
fusion crust
THC.
on meteorites. Fusion crust.
I'm usually up
One
on
of the
the
main
20s.
features on meteorites. and the way
I
to
buy
detect
high-end stuff.
whether
Okay.
A rock is a meteorite or if
Alright.
it's just a terrestrial rock, is that it's covered with a glass coating,
A lot of glass. Why not ice?
about a millimeter thick,
Why does it got to be glass?
burnt glass,
It's burnt. Burnt?
burnt glass coating.
Why it's
of a
burnt?
meteorite. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you peel away that coating,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see the rock beneath.
Yep.
And the very interesting thing is that the chemical makeup of the rock is different than the fusion crust. It's like they came from two different origins, and they did.
Well, yeah. Because, as we just read, these are made because meteors crash down. The debris coats the debris from the other stuff. It's hot. Glass is the outside. Inside doesn't get cooked as much. It's like broiling something in the oven. And, then there you go. That makes sense. Two different sources. Terrestrial and extraterrestrial. The debris.
They'll give you the conventional explanation that they call it ablation, where basically the rock is going at a very high speed and it's burning through the atmosphere, and they're saying that the glass from the inside of the rock is formulating and encapsulating the rock with this burnt glass. Well, that's not true.
It's not true.
First of all, there's no in-between layer of like a glass rock composite. It's two different.
What are people saying out there? Woof. Come here, bud. Buddy. Darwin. Come here. Come here. You can calm down. Calm down. No.
Distinct
What a dummy.
surfaces. It's two different distinct materials, okay? Just like if you dip something in a hot wax or something, you dipped a rock in a hot wax, and it gets coated like that. That's exactly what's happening, because
True.
above in the sky, when a meteor is actually coming through the atmosphere, it's skidding across the glass at a very high speed.
Unkept Flamingo,
It
thanks
gets
60
to-
months.
It generates enough friction because there's a little air even above the glass. There's a very minute amount of air which actually creates friction, and it actually starts to melt through the glass.
What?
Okay, and then it gets covered. It gets encapsulated with fusion crust, and then the little tektites strip off like that. Okay.
How does that make more
another
sense?
reason why there's glass in the sky. When the meteor does enter through the atmosphere, excuse me,
I feel like if you
there's a thing called
if you melted through a
triboluminescence.
glass thing,
Triboluminescence.
the water behind it that would fall out would fill the space, unless it's magic, I guess.
Which is
But also
basically
the glass wouldn't stick to
when
you; it would
rub
fall
two
away from
surfaces
you,
together,
and you would burn
especially
through
when
it
it's
like a.
quartz or silicon dioxide, which is
Imagine heating up a glass, anything, and like pushing a nail through it all the way, and then pulling it out the other side. Right? I don't think you'd have a ton of glass on you if you could do that, right? In one fell swoop, like as fast as this is going, it would just like slide off it, wouldn't it? Seems weird.
glass against another surface like that. It
You
will
couldn't
light.
call it a fusion
It will-
crust?
it will
That's
create
true.
light. It creates light. So sometimes at nighttime, when a meteor crashes through the glass sky, it will create triboluminescence and will light up the entire
might be
sky,
right about the throat
just
clearing
as if
thing.
it were daylight.
Just buying
Sure,
time
you've seen
for
some
the
of that. You've seen
idea.
that before, a video footage of that.
Yeah, finish the titty.
They
The
shown you that
platonic
before, okay.
anime titty.
Move on over here.
It's
Another
perfect in every
piece of
way.
evidence that there's glass in the sky. Auroras borealis, okay, or auroras australis, however you say that. Auroras are a direct result of electrons being shot at glass, at an obstacle.
That's
Scientists
what
will
auroras are.
They will compare the auroras to an old CRT TV tube, basically, with the electron.
Whoa,
going
whoa, whoa!
back here, okay?
CRT?
And the electron
Whoa!
gun is shooting the
Yikes,
electrons.
Steve!
And there's
Wow, quit
phosphorus
indoctrinating our
coated onto
kids.
this glass here. When the electrons hit the glass, it causes the glow. That's really what's happening here, basically. The sun is shooting the electrons and it's hitting the glass. And at the higher latitudes, it's creating the glow. You see the glow there. I'm not really sure why it's happening
Wait, is the sun
at
round or
higher
no? It is not.
latitudinal regions.
The sun is like a heat lamp for your lizard.
But maybe you guys can tell me that. Okay, so auroras are created because of glass. Ozone generation. Ozone generation. You could smell the glass in the sky, okay?
That's why as the sun goes over the horizon, that's why it starts becoming like weird and oblong. You know how when you look at the sun it becomes oblong and no longer circular? You know? You've all experienced this common phenomenon.
After a thunderstorm, you smell that fresh scent that you smell? That's the same scent that's created in air ionizers, basically, where you have a glass plate in the middle, okay? Or inside. And so the glass plate, the O2 molecules, are creating O3 molecules, and it's distributing off this fresh scent. So
Delicious.
basically, they have the oxygen molecules after a thunderstorm,
Fresh.
electromagnetically creating O3. So you have the O3 molecules being created
O3.
because the electromagnetic
O3.
activity after a thunderstorm is creating the ozone. Same thing, because there's glass in the sky. That's what's happening there, okay?
Thunderstorms have smells.
Another reason that we have
Ozone
glass in the
is a
sky is
smell.
because, to draw a little cross section here, here's the earth,
Yes, the earth.
here's the water, whatever, here's the clouds in the sky. Thunderstorm, you have the lightning beneath the clouds, right? But you also have upper atmospheric lightning. Upper atmospheric lightning.
God damn it. Poor Jeff.
They call those sprites.
Poor Bezos, bro.
Sprites. So in here you have these. It's kind of like a funnel shape here, but it has a top to the sprites. Basically, it gives off this disc-like plasma discharge, and they call those elves. And the altitude of the elves is 62 miles high, or 100 kilometers. That's how we know the height of the glass ceiling. Same thing with auroras. They say the bottom,
That's what Hillary smashed into
the
in
lowest
2016.
part of the aurora, basically, is at 62 miles, 100 kilometers.
Tame, I did the thing
So
again.
that's where we get the 62 miles from. Another reason why there's glass in the sky is because glass blocks ultraviolet light, and so does our atmosphere. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Our atmosphere does not block UV light. Okay. It blocks a lot of UV light, but does he mean like totally, or does he mean just like mostly? And yes, there are other things that block UV light as well. You know what else blocks UV light? Cotton. Like, leaves. Like, coincidence? Well, it only has to be restrictive enough to block light a little. Close. Yeah. That's true, Brooke. That's how it works. I keep pressing the wrong button.
There's also the greenhouse effect, okay? We have a literal glass ceiling, just like in a greenhouse. This is true.
That's such a
big
weird
reason why there's
argument.
glass in the sky is because
Like, what a funny
like I
thing.
told you before, because the sun is a direct light, and it's not an omnidirectional light. It has an edge to it, has a rim, okay? So that sunlight
It's got a rim. Nice.
being diffused through this glass is creating a spectrum. That's where the division of the white light comes from, just like in a prism, as if the white light is shining through a glass prism. So basically, the light that we see coming down from the sky is already filtered through the glass. And that glass, filtered light, is projected onto reflective water vapor. Or clouds. That's all it is. The clouds are not the source of the rainbow, folks. Clouds are only the surface of projection. Same thing with a garden hose, if you're holding a garden hose, okay?
The way he said that made it sound like he thinks that people think clouds poop rainbows. Also, why is this the dog meme? Look at it. That's just a dog face meme.
You're spraying out the spray. That's not the origin of the rainbow. The reflective water is just the surface of projection. Surface of projection. Surface of projection. Now you can understand why the rainbow is arced. It has nothing to do with any kind of weird explanation that they tell you. The rainbow is arced because it's just mimicking the arc of the sun. It's mimicking the edge of the sun. If you shine sunlight through a square, like if you're inside a room and there's a square window,
the implication would be that there was like a constant, predictable rainbow that orbited the Earth. Which fucking, by the way, would be dope. Like, imagine if every day we were like, oh, we marked noon because, like, the rainbow was there. You know what I mean? Every day the whole sky would be a rainbow for a period of time. As it would rotate over the canopy. It'd be fucking cool, dude.
And there's water vapor inside the room, you're going to get a square. You're going to get a straight edge rainbow. That's all it is. Same thing, you can shine a flashlight. Some flashlights, you can actually create a rainbow. If you shine a flashlight onto a white piece of paper in a dark room, you can create a rainbow on paper.
Pretty good flashlight.
It's just mimicking the rim of the light source. That's all it is. That's also why the inside of rainbows are brighter than the outside, because that's where the sun is. The sun, it's the projection of the sun, of the light of the sun. This is the true reason why rainbows happen. And now you can understand, okay, well, this glass.
It's so weird. He didn't ever have to attack rainbows. He made up a problem. Like, for his cosmology, no one was going to ask, like, what about rainbows? Because they would work the same. You know what I mean? I don't...
Diffused
Can
light
he explain double rainbows? Nobody can. They're too
all
majestic.
the colors of the rainbow.
Or rainbows that are just circles.
The clouds. It can also colorize the sky. Right? In the morning time, you'll see the nice red clouds at the horizon. It's filtered. It's glass filtered light. You're getting the red end of the spectrum. At the moon, the moon at the horizon. When
Colts
you see
fan,
the moon
thanks, buddy.
rise,
Appreciate it.
Sometimes the moon is orange. It's because it's being gelled
Debunking
by the
ASMR.
glass filtered light. The moon is up in the middle of the sky. It looks more blue. Well, it's being gelled too. Now you can understand stellar spectroscopy.
Dude, he just remembers the shit off the dome, too.
It's a farce.
It's a farce. He learned about stellar spectroscopy to be like, nope, debunked. Amazing.
Scientists will tell you that they can identify what stars are made of and what distance they are going, or what direction they are going, based upon their color shift. That's not true, because the stars up in the middle of the sky are being gelled by the glass sky. So if you see a redshift star, well, they'll say, okay, look, it's moving away from us because the red end of the spectrum is a longer wavelength, and it's the Doppler effect, and blah blah blah, baloney baloney baloney.
Doppler effect.
It's not
the
true.
Doppler effect.
Even Hubble admitted. Carl Hubble. Is that his first name? I don't know. He said the redshift.
Isn't it like Edwin Hubble? Am I stupid? Yeah, Edwin Hubble. Come on, bro. Come on. Step your game up.
Was of an unknown origin.
This guy says he guarantees he'll win a debate. Wait, who's this guy? This guy? Or is there a guy? Do we have a guy? Talking about.
Don't tell you that, do they? And you can't see the redshift of stars. You can't see the color shifts of stars from above the atmosphere. Why? Because it's just simply glass, guys. It's just simply glass. Glass is coloring the sky.
Okay, defeater.
This glass is also found in Egypt. Pieces of it fell down in the Libyan desert. They call it Libyan desert glass. Another mystery. Where did this come from? Where did this glass come from?
Why is he talking to it like a puppy?
It has the highest silica content of natural silica in the world, 98%. Okay, there's no bubbles in it when it was formed. It's very dense. It's very, I don't know. There's no bubbles in it, basically. So basically, it melted quickly, and it also
policy prescriptions does the glass
okay.
teach us?
It didn't come from the surrounding sand, because when you try to do that to the surrounding sand, first of all, you're not going to get this high of a silica content, and secondly, you're going to have these little air pockets and bubbles in the glass. This Libyan desert glass, it's a mystery to them. They don't know where it came from. Well, because they don't understand that there's a layer of
Is
glass
the
on
land
sky.
that rhombus in the other drawings? No. This is the center of space. Space! This is space. These are stars in here, these dots. This is the sun. This is the moon. This is the sky. Okay? And then there's well, this is kind of like inner outer space. Does that make sense? This is outer space. Inner outer space, solar system space. How about that? Solar system space. And then air, land. And we live on the inside of the outside of the ball. Does that make sense? Yeah. We are walking on the inside of the land. Yep.
62.
That's 100% true. Yeah, this guy's a loony bin, but I love this. It's, if you look at it through, like, if you just pretend you're watching a guy work out the worldview for his new Dungeons and Dragons campaign, it's pretty good watch.
Miles high. And probably what happened was very simple. It's a very simple explanation. A meteor probably came crashing through the glass sky again. The Earth. Here's the glass sky. Okay, this meteor, or a couple meters or whatever, it crashed through.
What
it
are
melted
meteors
through,
from,
got
though?
encapsulated with fusion crust. Had some tektites droop. Well, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't tektites because it was hot enough. Maybe it slammed in at a higher angle like that, so it didn't really have the chance to melt or to melt the glass, and maybe just like crashed through, just like a ball crashes through a window, basically. And so it created a hole in this glass, and these chunks of glass, this yellow glass, fell down to the earth. because they can't find any meteor
This is the guy that cursed me with bad dreams, yeah.
craters in Libya Desert where this glass
Back in,
has
like,
fallen. Let's say this is the
2012?
Libyan Desert. This is where the glass fell. This is big oval array. There's no meteor craters there. Well, if you understand physics and velocity, this meteor is going very fast, okay?
Any bad
So it's going
dreams
to be
yet?
it's going to fall very far away
Not often,
from
though.
where the glass fell, because the glass is not moving, okay? So the glass falls here, the meteor falls there. Very simple. Very simple explanation.
Wait, well, why do you think this would be a bad D&D campaign's location? Like the setting? Really? The implications of the sky being a huge ball of glass is super wild. And that the other planes are inside that ball of glass, but it's like TARDIS-y. It's fucking interesting.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the ice.
The glass wasn't imparted any momentum. No, everything is stationary. Well, actually, the inner glass is spinning. I don't know if he thinks the outer glass also spins. But yeah.
Oh, I did talk about the ice a little bit. The ice that's attached to this glass sky
He's gonna ruin the titty chat.
Formulated.
No.
by moisture, and because it's cold
Titty
up there,
ruined.
and it generated this.
You forget he understands physics
mantle
and philosophy.
of
Or
ice.
velocity, yes.
So if this is Earth, and this is the glass sky, there's also a
And to
layer
spin with the
of
planet?
ice
Oh, well, no.
That's-
Earth is not a planet.
attached
You see.
to the glass. Every so often, this glass falls, or this ice falls down.
Just a massive areola, but no,
Usually
this was the
probably
nipple the
due
whole
to
time.
man-made generated heat that's created in metropolitan areas
That was the nip.
through exhaust fumes or
So
whatever.
you
That's
can't have an
why they
areola
spray
and then a
the
nipple over
skies with
here. Doesn't make any sense.
Contrails. They're not chemtrails. They're contrails. They want to block the heat.
Oh
the
fuck! I
man-made
forgot about
exhaust
chemtrails,
fumes
dude.
from reaching
Do they
the
still
top
fucking worry about chemtrails, or are they done with that one?
of the glass sky. They don't want these ice chunks falling
I
down.
forgot about chemtrails,
They'll-
bro.
they'll
That was
spray the
huge in
skies
2012.
with this webbing, because the exhaust fumes will create heat.
Did
Like
Defeater
a
ever come
meteors are,
back with
like I
the
said before, they're a
person who
mystery.
wanted to like vanquish me in hand-to-hand
I
combat?
don't know where they're coming from. I even called Dr. I use that term loosely, Dr. David Travis, who studies these, and I told him where they're coming from. They're coming from the top of the glass sky. And I gave him evidence of the glass sky. He's like, oh no, well the atmosphere has been so thoroughly studied over the years. Well, no, it's just that you haven't been informed because the powers that be didn't really tell you what's really going on. They know about this. This is the true form of the world. Okay, let's go back to
I love.
what's going to happen prophetically based on what happened in the past. Because everything is moving.
See the ashtray again?
electromagnetically.
True.
Gravity is, for the most part, a fictitious force. It has nothing to do with gravity. It's all electromagnetism, basically.
Wait. How can gravity, for the most part, be a fictitious force? What's for the most part it's fictitious mean?
They can stop. The celestial orbs can stop in the sky if there is an abeyance, if there's a halting of the electromagnetism. And that's what happened before 3,500 years ago. There's legends all over the world that talk about a mysterious time where there was like a double day in history, or a double night, or a double night. It's recorded in Egypt, it's recorded in North America by Indians, South America, Central America, China. You can just Google geocentricity and Joshua's long day, and it's also mentioned in the Bible, like I said before, Joshua. Joshua chapter 10. Joshua chapter 10. In Joshua chapter 10, let me get it for you here. It notes that Joshua commanded the sun to stop and the moon to stay. Evidently, so he wanted to have more daylight to finish his battle, okay? Joshua chapter 10.
You love listening to a guy find a
Okay.
page in a book.
So basically,
It always sounds the same.
says, Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon the enemies.
Yeah, the four corners of the earth is the time cube, yeah.
Okay, so it's recorded in the Bible, and it's also recorded in various countries throughout the world. I would say this actually definitely did happen.
I would say this actually definitely did happen. That's fucking awesome. Votimus Prime, thanks for the follow.
And it can't happen
I would say it probably definitely happened.
if the world is spinning, like I told you before in other videos. If you have a theoretical universe where the Earth is a convex spinning planet, and the sun actually literally stopped in the sky, which it has already been testified by many different people, theoretically you would have to conclude that the Earth would have to stop spinning. And if that actually happened, if the Earth was spinning in the first place, there would be a major whiplash of all the oceans covering continents. That's not how it happened. The sun didn't stop because the Earth stopped, because the Earth doesn't spin in the first place. The sun stopped because the sun was actually moving inside the Earth, and it stopped due to an absence of electromagnetism. So, going back to Joshua chapter 10, the verse before that, it says, And it came to pass as they fled from before Israel and were in the going down to Beth Horon, that the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died. There were more which died with hailstones.
I think it's funny because some people follow me now that didn't follow me when I started, and I don't know, like I'm like OG atheism YouTube, so I've seen all this shit. What's the TLDR on the conspiracy? You're looking at the entire galaxy right now, and we live right here on the outside of it, walking on the inside of a basketball.
Then they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. So hailstone and sun stop, okay? If the sun stops,
I agree, Angel
hail
the Grove.
falls. There is the connection. If the sun stops, hail falls. If the sun stops again, you can conclude that it's very likely that hail will fall again.
If are we
Now,
when the sun
let's look
stops
at
next time?
Some of the verses in the Bible were
Just the next time the sun
hail falling. okay?
pauses.
Go to Isaiah chapter 28. Isaiah 28.
Jay Dematic, thanks for following.
Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness
wild,
to the plummet,
Miyakota.
and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies.
That's an hour ago. We're still watching this.
There's a lot of lies.
It's only been
Scientifically
it's only been
speaking.
44 minutes.
that so-called scientific.
This is a long video.
Don't you conclude that? As a matter of fact,
I just have always wanted to watch this with someone
chapter 24.
that isn't in my living room.
Let's see if I can find this real quick.
I've never actually watched this on the internet with you guys. And how much can you like really say about it? I can sit here and debunk it. It's wacky, right?
So as behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and
It
turneth
doesn't
it
deserve
upside down.
the debunking. You know what I mean?
Scattereth
Just
abroad
funny.
the inhabitants thereof. Turn it upside down. Well, actually, that's not the verse I wanted to look for. I don't know where it is, but basically.
Robo sizzling. Who's
Turn
that?
this off. I'll get it. I'll be right back. Okay, it was verse 29:16.
You say that guy like I should remember him.
Surely your turning of things
I don't know
upside
who
down
that
shall
is.
be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the things framed say of him that framed it, he hath no understanding? So basically, man has turned things upside down. Man has turned the world, the earth, the universe, inside out and upside down.
The guy Defeater was
Okay,
talking
going back
about?
to hail falling. Okay, we
Oh.
got Isaiah 28.
Well, I don't know anything about him. I don't even know what he is mad about. What's he mad about? Leon
Isaiah
Cabe.
28.
Or is it Leonel Cabe? Either way. Thanks for following. Or Leon El Cabe.
Isaiah 34. It says, the heaven shall.
He keeps saying he beat you in a
For
debate,
heaven shall
and
be
he wants.
dissolved.
But what's he want to talk about?
Well, what's
I don't even know. I don't remember him at all.
Ice gets dissolved.
Who is
And-
this person? I forgot his name again.
They shall be rolled together as a scroll. So now you have a scientific explanation of this
Saniba, thanks for following.
arcane and ridiculed verse.
Is he a streamer
actually
or is he
have
just some guy?
A platform
Which
in
is the
which
same thing as a
ice
streamer, but not
can roll
live.
together like a scroll. If the sun stops, it's going to melt all this ice. It's going to roll together like a scroll, or roll apart like a scroll. Can't take some of the words in the Bible translated accurately. So basically, this ice is going to be falling down. Also talks about in Isaiah 34 as falling fig from a fig tree.
I've lost the plot with him. I've lost the plot with him. It's over. It's over. But you get it. We watched most of that. Absolutely fucking wacky, dude. What a wackadoodle.